Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Have an effect upon. Will the new rules affect me? Have an emotional or cognitive impact upon. Connect closely and often incriminatingly. This new ruling affects your business. Make believe with the intent to deceive. Act physically on. Have an effect upon. The medicine affects my heart rate. The conscious subjective aspect of feeling or emotion. Press, drive, or impel someone to action or completion of an action. Be relevant to. Have an effect upon. Keep or maintain in unaltered condition. Cause to remain or last. Have an effect upon. The violent interaction of individuals or groups entering into combat. Have an effect upon. Influencing strongly. A forceful consequence, a strong effect. The book had an important impact on my thinking. Press or wedge together, pack together. The striking of one body against another. A distinguishing style. This room needs a woman's touch. Make a more or less disguised reference to. Consume. She didn't touch her food all night. The event of something coming in contact with the body. He longed for the touch of her hand. Be relevant to. A suggestion of some quality. There was a touch of sarcasm in his tone. Have an effect upon. The act of putting two things together with no space between them. At his touch the room filled with lights. Be equal to in quality or ability. Your performance doesn't even touch that of your colleagues. A communicative interaction. He got in touch with his colleagues. A slight attack of illness. He has a touch of rheumatism. Affect emotionally. I was touched by your kind letter of sympathy. The faculty by which external objects or forces are perceived through contact with the body, especially the hands. Only sight and touch enable us to locate objects in the space around us. Tamper with. Don't touch my CDs. To extend as far as. The chair must not touch the wall. A slight but appreciable amount. This dish could use a touch of garlic. Be in direct physical contact with. Make contact. The two buildings touch. The sensation produced by pressure receptors in the skin. She likes the touch of silk on her skin. Color lightly. Cause to be in brief contact with. He touched his toes to the horse's flanks. Comprehend. He could not touch the meaning of the poem. Deal with. Usually used with a form of negation. I wouldn't touch her with a 10-foot pole. Deftness in handling matters. He has a master's touch. Make physical contact with. Come in contact with. She never touched her husband. Perceive via the tactile sense. Helen Keller felt the physical world by touching people and objects around her. The act of soliciting money, as a gift or loan. He watched the beggar trying to make a touch. The feel of mechanical action. This piano has a wonderful touch. Restore by replacing a part or putting together what is torn or broken. Be relevant to. Have an effect upon. Refer to or discuss briefly. Reproduce by printing. Mark or stamp with or as if with pressure. To make a batik, you impress a design with wax. Dye, fabric, before it is spun. Take someone against his will for compulsory service, especially on board a ship. Have an emotional or cognitive impact upon. This child impressed me as unusually mature. The act of coercing someone into government service. Produce or try to produce a vivid impression of. Impress positively. The young chess player impressed her audience. Give an incentive for action. This moved me to sacrifice my career. Be in a state of action. Change location. Move, travel, or proceed, also metaphorically. The soldiers moved towards the city in an attempt to take it before night fell. The act of changing location from one place to another. The movement of people from the farms to the cities. Cause to move or shift into a new position or place, both in a concrete and in an abstract sense. The director moved more responsibilities onto his new assistant. Perform an action, or work out or perform an action. We must move quickly. The act of changing your residence or place of business. They say that 3 moves equal 1 fire. Have a turn. Make one's move in a game. Have an emotional or cognitive impact upon. Follow a procedure or take a course. A change of position that does not entail a change of location. Movement as a sign of life. Progress by being changed. Propose formally, in a debate or parliamentary meeting. Arouse sympathy or compassion in. Her fate moved us all. Change residence, affiliation, or place of employment. We moved from Idaho to Nebraska. Dispose of by selling. The chairman of the company told the salesman to move the computers. Game. A player's turn to take some action permitted by the rules of the game. Go or proceed from one point to another. The debate moved from family values to the economy. Live one's life in a specified environment. She moves in certain circles only. Move so as to change position, perform a non-translational motion. He moved his hand slightly to the right. The act of deciding to do something. He didn't make a move to help. Drive something violently into a location. A conspicuous success. A gentle blow. A score in 10 pins, knocking down all 10 with the first ball. He finished with 3 strikes in the 10th frame. Make a strategic, offensive, assault against an enemy, opponent, or a target. We must strike the enemy's oil fields. Affect or afflict suddenly, usually adversely. Touch or seem as if touching visually or audibly. Find unexpectedly. Remove by erasing or crossing out or as if by drawing a line. Please strike this remark from the record. Cause to experience suddenly. Have an emotional or cognitive impact upon. Form by stamping, punching, or printing. Strike coins. Smooth with a strickle. A group's refusal to work in protest against low pay or bad work conditions. The strike lasted more than a month before it was settled. Stop work in order to press demands. Produce by manipulating keys or strings of musical instruments. The pianist strikes a middle C. Occupy or take on. Strike a pose. Hit against. Come into sudden contact with. Attain. An attack that is intended to seize or inflict damage on or destroy an objective. The strike was scheduled to begin at dawn. Arrive at after reckoning, deliberating, and weighing. Strike a balance. Baseball. A pitch that the batter swings it and misses, or that the batter hits into foul territory, or that the batter does not swing it but the umpire judges to be in the area over home plate and between the batter's knees and shoulders. This pitcher throws more strikes than balls. Cause to form, an electric arc, between electrodes of an arc lamp. Strike an arc. Deliver a sharp blow, as with the hand, fist, or weapon. The opponent refused to strike. Disassemble a temporary structure, such as a tent or a theatrical set. After the show, we'll have to strike the set and pack up. Indicate a certain time by striking. Pierce with force. Produce by ignition or a blow. Strike fire from the flintstone. Have as a necessary feature. This decision involves many changes. Connect closely and often incriminatingly. Require as useful, just, or proper. Contain as a part. Dinner at Joe's always involves at least 6 courses. Engage as a participant. Don't involve me in your family affairs. Make complex or intricate or complicated. The situation was rather involved. Occupy or engage the interest of. His story completely involved me during the entire afternoon. Usually preceded by, in, a detail or point. The condition of being honored, esteemed or respected or well regarded. A man who has earned high regard. An attitude of admiration or esteem. A feeling of friendship and esteem. She mistook his manly regard for love. Paying particular notice, as to children or helpless people. Usually plural, a polite expression of desire for someone's welfare. Give him my kind regards. Look at attentively. Connect closely and often incriminatingly. A long fixed look. Deem to be. Behave unnaturally or affectedly. Hide under a false appearance. Make believe with the intent to deceive. Make a pretense of. He feigned sleep. Make believe with the intent to deceive. He feigned that he was ill. Behave unnaturally or affectedly. The enactment of a pretense. It was just pretend. Represent fictitiously, as in a play, or pretend to be or act like. State insincerely. She pretended not to have known the suicide bomber. Imagined as in a play. Dangling their legs in the water to catch pretend fish. Make believe with the intent to deceive. Put forward, of a guess, in spite of possible refutation. I cannot pretend to say that you are wrong. Put forward a claim and assert right or possession of. Pretend the title of king. Adopted in order to deceive. Sham modesty. Make a pretense of. Something that is a counterfeit, not what it seems to be. A person who makes deceitful pretenses. Make believe with the intent to deceive. He shammed a headache. Insert words into texts, often falsifying it thereby. Cause to change, make different, cause a transformation. The advent of the automobile may have altered the growth pattern of the city. Become different in some particular way, without permanently losing one's or its former characteristics or essence. Remove the ovaries of. Make an alteration to. This dress needs to be altered. Lay aside, abandon, or leave for another. The car changed lanes. Cause to change, make different, cause a transformation. The discussion has changed my thinking about the issue. Exchange or replace with another, usually of the same kind or category. He changed his name. An event that occurs when something passes from one state or phase to another. The change was intended to increase sales. Become different in some particular way, without permanently losing one's or its former characteristics or essence. Her mood changes in accordance with the weather. Give to, and receive from, one another. Would you change places with me? Become deeper in tone. His voice began to change when he was 12 years old. Change from one vehicle or transportation line to another. She changed in Chicago on her way to the East Coast. A difference that is usually pleasant. It is a refreshing change to meet a woman mechanic. A different or fresh set of clothes. She brought a change in her overnight bag. A relational difference between states, especially between states before and after some event. He attributed the change to their marriage. A thing that is different. He inspected several changes before selecting one. Change clothes. Put on different clothes. Coins of small denomination regarded collectively. He had a pocketful of change. Money received in return for its equivalent in a larger denomination or a different currency. He got change for a 20 and used it to pay the taxi driver. Remove or replace the coverings of. Father had to learn how to change the baby. The action of changing something. The change of government had no impact on the economy. The balance of money received when the amount you tender is greater than the amount due. I paid with a 20 and pocketed the change. The result of alteration or modification. There were marked changes in the lining of the lungs. Undergo a change. Become different in essence, losing one's or its original nature. She changed completely as she grew older. Cause to change. Make different, cause a transformation. Add a modifier to a constituent. Make less severe or harsh or extreme. Please modify this letter to make it more polite. Be relevant to. My remark pertained to your earlier comments. Be a part or attribute of. Be relevant to. There were lots of questions referring to her talk. Seek information from. Refer to your notes. Have as a meaning. Make reference to. Send or direct for treatment, information, or a decision. Refer a patient to a specialist. Think of, regard, or classify under a subsuming principle or with a general group or in relation to another. This plant can be referred to a known species. Use a name to designate. Christians refer to the mother of Jesus as the Virgin Mary. Be relevant to. Be relevant to. Return to consciousness. Cause to experience suddenly. Attain. Be on the mind of. A commercial or industrial enterprise and the people who constitute it. A racially integrated business concern. Be relevant to. Something or someone that causes anxiety, a source of unhappiness. New York traffic is a constant concern. An anxious feeling. A feeling of sympathy for someone or something. She felt strong concern for those less fortunate. Something that interests you because it is important or affects you. The safety of the ship is the captain's concern. Make a logical or causal connection. I cannot relate these events at all. Be relevant to. Be in a relationship with. How are these two observations related? Give an account of. The witness related the events. Have or establish a relationship to. She relates well to her peers. Tamper, with the purpose of deception. Represent falsely. This statement misrepresents my intentions. Be in contradiction with. Represent falsely. The general atmosphere of a place or situation and the effect that it has on people. An intuitive understanding of something. He had a great feeling for music. A vague idea in which some confidence is placed. What are your feelings about the crisis? The sensation produced by pressure receptors in the skin. The surface had a greasy feeling. A physical sensation that you experience. He had a queasy feeling. The experiencing of affective and emotional states. She had a feeling of euphoria. Have and exert influence or effect. Something or someone that causes trouble, a source of unhappiness. A bit of a bother. To cause inconvenience or discomfort to. Take the trouble to do something, concern oneself. Don't bother, please. An angry disturbance. A spot of bother. Cause annoyance in. Disturb, especially by minor irritations. Mosquitoes buzzing in my ear really bothers me. Intrude or enter uninvited. Don't bother the professor while she is grading term papers. Make confused or perplexed or puzzled. Make nervous or agitated. The mere thought of her bothered him and made his heart beat faster. Any material used for its color. She used a different color for the trim. Physics, the characteristic of quarks that determines their role in the strong interaction. Each flavor of quarks comes in 3 colors. Having or capable of producing colors. Color film. Decorate with colors. Color the walls with paint in warm tones. Give a deceptive explanation or excuse for. Color a lie. Change color, often in an undesired manner. The shirt's discolored. The appearance of objects, or light sources, described in terms of a person's perception of their hue and lightness, or brightness, and saturation. Interest in variety and intensity. The Puritan period was lacking in color. Modify or bias. His political ideas color his lectures. An outward or token appearance or form that is deliberately misleading. The situation soon took on a different color. The timbre of a musical sound. The recording fails to capture the true color of the original music. A visual attribute of things that results from the light they emit or transmit or reflect. A white color is made up of many different wavelengths of light. Effect as in thought or feeling. My personal feelings color my judgment in this case. Add color to. The child colored the drawings. Any material used for its color. Physics, the characteristic of quarks that determines their role in the strong interaction. Having or capable of producing colors. Decorate with colors. Give a deceptive explanation or excuse for. Change color, often in an undesired manner. The appearance of objects, or light sources, described in terms of a person's perception of their hue and lightness, or brightness, and saturation. Interest in variety and intensity. Modify or bias. An outward or token appearance or form that is deliberately misleading. The timbre of a musical sound. A visual attribute of things that results from the light they emit or transmit or reflect. Effect as in thought or feeling. Add color to.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.